Welcome back to the Leading Edge Conversations with Saskatoon's Leaders. My guest today is Heather Pocock. Heather, you mentioned it's really important to know yourself and know your strengths. So is it important for a leader as well to surround yourself with people that can offset your weaknesses?
I think so. That's what teamwork is, right? We can't be all things to all people or to, our workplace. And different people have strengths and weaknesses that either match ours or are different than ours. And part of a leader is recognizing other people's skills and abilities and delegating where that's possible and letting go of the belief that you have to be able to do everything or that you have to be good at everything, because I don't think anyone ultimately is. So yes, I think part of the work we do is recognizing other people's strengths and sharing the workload.
Several times you've mentioned skills. What do you think the skills are that a leader needs?
I think you have to be diligent, hardworking, looking at the big picture, being willing to tackle the challenging things that arise from day to day, and tackling those first and foremost, the difficult things, getting them out of the way, making sure they don't grow up or grow into bigger problems, being courageous to make unpopular decisions once in a while. But aside from that, I think it's really important to be kind and sincere, be yourself, and be willing to make mistakes and being willing to admit that there are some things you're not good at and you want to find others who can do that. I think it's important that if you aren't sure about something, don't go making stupid mistakes, but to ask for assistance, seek consultation outside if you need to. In our case, we're a nonprofit, we're a community organization, so asking your board to offer support or direction. And that's not really my role, but as a backup director or assistant director, certainly I work with the board of directors to some degree and we rely on their expertise. And I think it's recognizing the skills of your staff so that you can utilize them where needed.
Do you think there's a perfect leadership style?
I don't know about that. I know what my style is, and I certainly know what my director's style is, and past directors. And I think there's strengths and weaknesses in each of us, and we all do what we can to do a good job.
Yeah, as people, we bring different perspectives to the role. Right. There's an old adage that leaders are born, not made. How do you feel about that?
I think there's some truth in that. I would say born into, in my case. My father was a businessman, and I think he was highly respected in our community. And my parents were leaders in the community, or were involved, whether they were leaders, but they were involved in the community and relied on, I grew up in small town Alberta, so everybody knew everybody else. But I think because my father had a business, there was a level of respect there. And he used to bring his work home once in a while and talk about work. And I think I have some of his business sense. And I'm very practical in the ways that my father was. So, and then I look at my mother, a leader in the community, and the way she was very determined about some things and the values that she instilled in our family. I think all of that has helped me become who I am. So was I born this way or was I born into it? I think I was born into it. And certainly, when I worked at the YW, my director was Ann Campbell, and we talked a lot about leadership. And one of the things she said is, a lot of it is you learn by trial and error, and you learn by the mistakes you make, and nobody's perfect, and you do your best, and you lead as well as you can the way you instinctively feel you should. And that's ultimately what you can do. So,
Is there, when you look back at your career, is there anyone that stands out as a role model or a beacon for you, for a lack of a better term, in terms of leadership?
I think Ann Campbell was one of my first really significant leaders. She was the executive director at the YWCA when I was there, and I met her before joining the team there. and was involved with the precursor to the Saskatoon Community Service Village, and it was the Women's Resource Centre, and it was a team of very strong women in the community, including Anne, who was recently hired at the YW, but she just came in like a dynamo and really led the committee with some new ideas, and that was the challenge she was given. And I just always felt so safe and strong around her, and that she supported me to do my best, and that's something I've always wanted to do for the others that I work with.
So what are some of the challenges that you face as a leader with the Sexual Assault Centre?
I think sometimes it's the fact that we're a nonprofit organization and that money is not always, freely flowing to do the things that we want to do. Sometimes it feels like we're understaffed and the work is very hard. So I think it's working in a field that is always stressful. Our topic, our theme of violence never changes. We really work hard at having fun as a team and doing team timeouts and team development, and that's really important, I think, to have fun and to, sometimes we break into song, not so much dance, but a few of us love music and we love to sing, and somebody will be listening to the radio and all of a sudden we take a break and we sing a few songs, or show tunes will come up. I think that helps us deal with some of the day-to-day stressors. I think another challenge for us is that sexual assault is not something most people want to talk about, and we're not afraid to talk about it. We put it out there. We want people to know that we will support them. We will be confidential in their issues. So if they come to us, they can count on us to keep it secret unless obligated by law to share that with the police. And so that's really important, to share the message that it's nothing to be ashamed of. It's a horrible thing that happens, but there are people there to walk through this with you and to support you through whatever you decide is right for you. And so we need to be strong to be able to do that, and we need to be courageous to go out into the community and let people know it's okay, for you to talk about it, and come and see us. That's what we're here for.
Yeah, because sometimes leadership isn't a bowl of peaches and cream.
No.
It's not all easy. Sometimes we get these difficult topics or these difficult issues as leaders that we need to deal with.
Yeah, and sometimes when I'm doing a presentation, I've been challenged, and my stomach might roll a few times where I have to quickly think about, how am I going to address this angry person? I quickly go into, I think they're dealing with something that's happened to them. I'm going to step back, let them rant for a few minutes, and then try to support them to understand that I'm on their side. I'm not the enemy. I'm really just sharing information and letting them know that people do care and we do understand. But yeah, sometimes it means stepping back and letting those people lead how they need to lead, right?
So you touched on a couple of other leadership skills there: empathy, listening, being able to relate to people where they're coming from.
Big time.
So what's your biggest leadership challenge to date been?
I don't like change very well. I'm not the best person to go through that. I like things to go smoothly, and even though chaos, we work in crisis, we work in chaos, and so I think one of my strengths is trying to stay calm and keep everybody calm through those things. But we've gone through some dramatic change and growth. We've had projects come to us where, here, take it on, and that means hiring 2 or 3 people at a time, which can really create big demands on management to monitor people, to put programs into place, to flow with it, and to try to stay on top of things. So I like one person at a time. I like one little challenge at a time, just because the stress is great, and I guess another thing is always trying to not make work my life, and it really is. This is what I talk about. It's what I've done for 30 years. So as an individual, I think it's really important to find the balance and take care of yourself. I've always tried to eat well and exercise and get fresh air and do healthy things, but sometimes work is very burdensome, and I try not to take it home with me. but sometimes you can't avoid that. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Seems to be a common day issue
Yeah.
with a lot of people, not just leaders. It's this whole issue of
Yes.
work-life balance. One of the things that leaders have is a vision. They've got a very clear picture of what the future looks like. What's your vision, and how do you communicate that to the people you work with and your constituents?
Well, ultimately, I would love a world where people respected one another, where we didn't have violence and abuse, where people could all recognize, you know, when they're treating people badly, and if you are being treated badly, how to stand up for yourself. So there's my big vision. I'm not so naive to believe that that's going to end anytime soon or change anytime soon. So I think as an individual, I try to present that to others. I try to stand up where I see injustice. I want our agency to keep doing what it does. I want our agency to be in the forefront and to be out there so people know we're there. I want people to know that we exist. So that means I want to continue doing my job as an educator. I like us to stay on top of I love statistics, so I love to analyze our statistics every few years and really see what who are the people coming to see us? Are there programs that we can create or adapt, or you know, making sure we're relevant and meaningful in the community. So you know, our issue and our topic is not going to change, but how can we really stay on top of those issues and watch for different kinds of things that are happening in the community, and how can we take action to try to make a difference?
If somebody was to come to you and say, look, I'm not a leader, but I want to become a leader, I want to embark on that journey, what advice would you give them?
Be yourself, recognize what your strengths are. Do you have a backbone? It's okay to make mistakes. Have some integrity. If you say you're going to do something, you have to be willing to do it. Trust the people around you. Build a strong network around yourself. Make sure you know what your goals are. And I guess for me, I have to believe in what I'm doing to be able to do my work. And this is an issue I'm very passionate about, and I want to make a difference. That's not what everybody goes after, but I think having the integrity and the honesty to understand what it is you want to do, and find the resources and the way to do that, and find mentors. I think I learned that at the YWCA. I felt like, yes, I need mentors. I need somebody around me, and that gave me a really good kickstart to do what I'm doing now. And I don't feel like I really need that anymore, but I needed somebody I could look up to walk me through some of those issues as I was growing through that role of becoming a leader there. So.
Heather, thank you so much.
Thank
It's
you.
been a fascinating session, some great insights into leadership and in terms of the field that you work in.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. My guest has been Heather Pocock. She's the Assistant Director and Education Program Coordinator at the Saskatoon Sexual Assault Centre. You've been watching The Leading Edge, Conversations with Saskatoon's Leaders. Thank you for joining us on The Leading Edge, Conversations with Saskatoon's Leaders. I hope you found today's show thought-provoking and interesting. If you have any questions about leadership, or you'd like to talk to me about the show in general, send me an email at dave@highperformancehr.ca. I'd love to hear from you. I'd like to close with this quote on leadership.